Hi there, Mitesh here again. Today I'm going to talk about backup. So we talked recently, we had a video about immutable backup for VMs using Veeam. So we're going to just go into a little bit more detail about the Azure recovery services. It's got a feature called Immutable Backup Vault. So all the data, if you store your data in a recovery vault in Azure, is already immutable. But then how do we take that a step further by protecting the backup operationally as well? So yeah, well, I'll just show you what that looks like. So you can use the recovery service vault to back up things like VMs, storage accounts, databases, all kind of stuff. And this could be within Azure, or it can also be outside of Azure, so or on premises or other clouds even. You can download an agent, for example, and you'll see it in your on your server backup options. So you can do that, and that's cool. So what that means is you've kind of got an immutability there as well, because if somebody gets onto your network, they're not going to have access to your backups. So they can't modify or delete or do anything to your backups if they're on your networks. If your network's been compromised, they can't access your backup. So that's a great start already. So then what we can do is add additional protection to your backup vaults as well. So all the data in there can be also protected from being deleted, and retention policies being modified to be reduced, for example. And I'll show you what that looks like next. So here we can see we've got a backup vault in here. So I'll just flip over to that over here. You'll see, and then if we look at properties, and you can see there's a couple of settings in here, and this new one here, newish, immutable vault. We can see that it's not enabled by default, and we'll look at that in a second. So what I'll show you is that what you can do without that enabled. So if we look at backup policies, we can see I've got custom backup production policy there. Now let's try and make a change to that to say like, do an operation that might delete some of my backups, for example. So if I do that, and let's put 28 in there, for example, am I able to update that? Yes, I can update that. So what that means is any backups older than 28 days would have been deleted now. So what will also happen is you'll get an alert as well. So what I'll do is I'll just flip over to my alert screen. So I can see there's no alerts at the moment. Let me just refresh that. So we can see there's been an alert that's been fired. So that's a good thing, because that'll just show, okay, somebody's been modifying your retention policies. So you might want to know about that. But what if you want to prevent that? So you don't want people to be modifying those things, especially making them small. So that's where this immutability thing comes in. So if we go back to here, and then let's set that here, and then take a look at that setting now. So if I do setting there, enable vault immutability. So click that, and let's apply that first. So that's going to put some protection on that, so nobody can then go and set any retention policies to delete those older backups as well. Okay, so what we can do there, now you'll notice here it's enabled, but it's not locked. So what we can do, we can also set it to locked, but what you want to do is just do some testing and make sure you're happy with your policies and everything before you unlock it, because that's not a reversible it's not a reversible thing. So once it's locked, it stays like that, so you can't change it again. So that's one of the things to be careful of. So test everything properly, make sure you're happy with your policies, and then you can set that if you want to. There's a couple of all your backup settings are here. So another good one here, which is outside of this, is kind of what reminded me is the irreversibility of it. So when you set up a backup vault, it's geo redundant by default. So you may or may not want that. So you can set that here before you start doing any backups, because you can't change that afterwards once your backups start. And also the cross-region restore. This is a really good feature to allow you to do maybe some DR testing, and you can restore your servers in another region just from this backup vault. So that's a really cool thing. So now if I go back to my policies now, and let's try and change this again. Let's say let's drop this down to 26 days. It shouldn't let me do that. There you go. This is an immutable vault, so it's telling me there if you can see that. Yeah, I can't go less than that because it's already protected. So it kind of prevents that kind of policy modification to delete any backups there. So that's just a nice new feature. So it just gives you an extra layer of protection from operational things on the vault itself. So that, remember, the data is already immutable, so people can't go in and delete your backups. Plus, you've got the soft delete option. So if backups are deleted, they are recoverable for a certain amount of days, and depending on the settings you've got on there. But now you've got this new option for Immutable Vault as well to make the whole vault protected against those kind of operations. So, and remember, it applies to the whole vault. So whatever you're backing up in this vault, we'll pick those that immutable setting on as well. So, okay, so that's that. Yeah, any questions or anything, just drop a message in the comments. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you thought that was a useful feature to have. We do. All right. Thank you.